We started, we'll go to page Rutschmann, and here is the question. The national debt is over $13 trillion. The budget deficit for this fiscal year is estimated to be $1.27 trillion. Medicare and Social Security are headed down unsustainable paths, and Americans are concerned about the negative impact of letting the Bush tax cuts expire. What is your plan for addressing deficit and debt while keeping taxes low enough to allow for economic growth? Paige?
There is no doubt that we are in a downward spiral as far as our national debt is concerned. And my plan would be to take a look at our current government, the way it is run. All of the other businesses in the United States are going to a lean environment. The federal government is the only thing that is growing. And it is probably, I would say, almost unequivocally is not efficient. We need to look at our government agencies and lean down, as in LEAN, to slim down our government, the agencies, and make sure that they're operating effectively and productively. That would be the first thing I would do, to encourage that. The other thing would be to look at the laws that are on the books, make sure that they are being adhered to correctly, and take action in that regard as it is required. The other thing would be to, as far as reducing our debt, is to work with the other congressional representatives to start balancing the budget. Where can we cut our taxable, what we are bringing in as far as taxes to the American government, and start reducing that. We definitely need to look at Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. We need to start determining where we can start reducing that and what we're going to do, develop a long-term plan as far as how we are going to handle the up-and-coming retiring generation in the future, as well as providing the ability for our young people to be able to retire with good income.
All right. Time is up. Dean Schodorf, the question is, what is your plan for addressing deficit and debt while keeping taxes low enough to allow for economic growth?
Thank you, Steve. I have a plan for national economic development and economic plan and principles. And one of the things that I believe we need to do is have a balanced budget amendment. 8 years ago, well, before Bush came into office, we had a balanced budget, and then for a number of reasons, spending became out of control, and we have to stop that spending again. So we need a balanced budget amendment. There is a bipartisan commission to address deficit reduction, but it is really a paper tiger, and we need to have both Republicans and Democrats, and not just politicians, but a number of experts in the different fields to work together to make recommendations about how to decrease the deficit. We're also going to have to stop spending at the national level. We have cut back at the state level. States are having a difficult time balancing their budgets, but we did it. And the federal government is going to have to start cutting too, 5% across the board, if possible. We have to keep the tax cuts that Bush did instigate, because they would be devastating for business if they went back up. There's another one, the unemployment tax at the state level. We have to work with states to make sure that states don't increase their taxes too, and I would support waiving that surcharge that businesses are going to have to pay for unemployment insurance funds that the states had borrowed. And that would be one of the first things that I would do, is that businesses will not have to have that surcharge to pay for that fund.
All right, thank you, Gene. Jim Anderson, you get the question now. What is your plan for addressing deficit and debt while keeping taxes low enough to allow for economic growth?
Well, 27 times in this question. It starts at the top. It starts at reducing the size of government, beginning with overhauling the tax system with a fair tax. It's the best way to generate revenue for a limited government, and as of yesterday, Congressman John Linder has decided to support my campaign here in the 4th District as the champion of the fair tax. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of our problems are created by our government, most of them, and it's because of the tax code. 7 million words, 10 billion hours a year for all of us to fill out corporate taxes and individual taxes. It has to, the government has to be pared back, the tax system has to be overhauled. You will see more jobs created than people to fill them if this is done. We have to enforce the states' rights, where the states take care of their own states. We have to eliminate the earmarking system completely, which is one of the big problems we have. But bottom line, right at the top, overhaul the tax system, reduce the size of government, go program by program. And if those programs, those federal programs down, if they're not constitutional, then eliminate them. That's the bottom line. So our Social Security, Medicare, they need to become solid, and we need to give individuals like myself. I would opt out of the system right now if I could, and I would take that money and invest it somewhere else and make much more money. We need to have people who are younger phase into a private program.